Okay, welcome to Harrisburg Area Tech Center Information Technology Department. We're going to go over the JewelThief circuits that have been around. These ones that use a toroid coil, but I'm going to show you it doesn't have to use a toroid coil. But this is a coil that we got out of a PC power supply. Almost all PC power supplies have these. And you want to get the ones that have two coils wrapped around them. This is one that's got 4 or 5. So what we'll do is cut these wires off and we'll rewire it ourselves, rewrap it ourselves. Here's one that we wrapped ourselves. This was a white core. And we wrapped it with 30 gauge and 26 gauge wire. It's a 26 gauge magnet wire and 32 gauge magnet wire. And I've seen a video about a guy who talks about the color of these cores. This one's white. Well, it's actually half white and half gray. And the color has a lot to do with the strength of the core, but you don't really need it. You can use the greens, you can use the browns, all different colors. Now, this is the basic circuit. I don't know if you can see this circuit up here. I'll just drop my battery. Right up there. Okay, this circuit, ignore this part of the circuit. This is the basic circuit that you need. This is a 1K ohm resistor. This is a 2N4401 transistor. You can use the 3904, the 2N3904. You can use the 2N2222. Or you can use the MOSFET versions, something like a BS170 or something like that. I've had little success with the MOSFETs. Mostly my success has been with the NPN type transistors. Then you have an LED. In this case I have a white LED. You can tell it's white by if you look down in, I don't know if you can see that, but you look down in there and you see a yellow. That's a white LED. You want this transistor with the flat side facing you. It's emitter base collector. And you want the LED hooked up to the emitter, the negative part of the LED, which would be the shorter leg. You've got two legs, one of them's longer than the other. And then the longer leg going to the collector. So that'd be the positive side, and this is the negative side. And another way you can tell the LEDs, you can look in the LED, I don't think you can see in there. But there's like a flag and a sphere. The flag goes to the negative and the sphere goes to positive. On most normal LEDs, now when you get into the infrared LEDs, they're reversed. I don't know why they're like that. But just if you've got the long leg, just go with the long leg is positive, the short leg is negative. The middle pin on this transistor is the base, and that is where we're going to send our signal to turn the transistor on. The transistor just acts like a switch. It closes, opens, closes. And we're going to send our signal through a 1K resistor to the base, and then that will cause the transistor to close. And when it closes, it will charge up the coil. And then when it opens back up, the magnetic field in the coil collapses, and that feeds back through the LED, which is across the transistor. So there it is. This has got two LEDs on it. And basically, once you hook it up to the battery, and the thing about this is, the reason they call it a JewelThief, for those who don't know, this battery is probably got like 1.1 volts on it. This battery is pretty much depleted. And this JewelThief will run until this battery gets down to a half a volt. But these LEDs require 3 volts to work. So this will actually steal voltage from here, and it creates spikes. And we've actually got a digital oscilloscope we should show that on. But it'll create spikes of 4 and 5 volts, which is enough to turn these on. These are actually flashing on and off very fast. It looks like it's steady on, but it's flashing on and off at a very, very high rate of speed, and you can't tell it. It's like 20,000 hertz or something. So that's what the JewelThief is. They call it JewelThief because it actually steals more energy out of the battery after the battery becomes useless. Because this battery would be useless in a device. Because usually devices require that 1.5 volt and this one's down to 1.1. And all I did here, I put magnets on the ends of these clips so they'll stick to the battery, because the battery has iron in it. These are little magnets that we stole out of CD-ROMs. The head where the little eye is, if you dig down in there, you find little magnets like this. So that makes, I saw a guy do this on a, that makes a really nice way of connecting. But anyway, this is using a 2222, a 1K resistor, and it's wired up just like that. But the reason I brought this out was because I wanted to show you. I'm going to disconnect this. That these cores really don't matter. This is a sewing bobbin, and it doesn't use a core. There's no iron core in it. It's just a plastic bobbin with magnet wire. I wrapped about 30 turns around this magnet wire. I've got a 32 gauge that I'm using for the signal going to the base, and then I've got a 26 gauge that I'm using for the power. So I'm going to go ahead and hook this up. We hook up the 36 gauge, or 32, I'm sorry, to the base. And then the opposite side, I'm using a little snag up here. Make sure I get this right. Yeah, that goes to the base, and then this goes to the collector on the same side as the one that you hook to the base. Well, if I can get it going there. Alright, the way I'm going to do this is the ultimate method of doing it now. So you go with this, you're going to say this one's going to the base, and what you're going to do is you're going to say, I'm going to take this and tie it to the opposite 32 gauge. So we're going to tie these two together. And I'll just stick them in the same port on the board. Stick them in the same tray. Put this one on the base. And then put this one on the collector, which also goes to the LED. Wire does not want to go going in there. Got to get it kind of straight. Come on, little wire. Thank you. Alright, so that's the coil hookup. And then I'm going to hook up some leads. I'm going to use the green for the negative. The negative of your battery will go to the emitter, which is that first pin on the transistor. If I can get this switch thing to work. So that's the negative of the battery. And then the positive goes to where these two wires join, these two opposite wires join each other. See if I can find room to click onto that. And there you go, it works. So you see we've got this working without an iron core at all. No core at all. It's working just fine, very bright, running off a 1.1 volt battery. So the myth about the core is a myth. You don't really have to have that. And if you really want a core, get you a 1/2 inch bolt and just wrap it with some magnet wire. What I used was this. This is 32 gauge magnet wire. This is 26 gauge magnet wire. And for those of you that have never worked with this, in order to strip this, the best way to strip it is to burn it. And that will oxidize the copper a little bit, and you can just scrape the copper with, you can use your pliers to scrape it. Just to get a shiny spot to solder to, or just to make a good connection. You just use the jaws of your pliers to scrape that carbon off there. And I hope you can see this. And there you got bare copper that you can solder to. And you do the same thing now with the 32 gauge. It's a lot thinner. You got to be a lot more careful with it because you can break it a lot easier. 26 gauge you can be a little bit more rough with. You buy this stuff on Amazon or electronic supply places. Usually you buy it by the pound. I think this is a 2-pound spool or 26 gauge, and got a 1-pound spool or 32 gauge here. Not those two. Alright. So that's it. That's the JewelThief. What it does is allows you, this is a wonderful thing to build. It allows you to use up your old batteries, and you can burn this nightlight, and I've actually hooked these up to a AAA battery, which is smaller than this. This would probably go for 2 days. I haven't tried that on the AA. But we did a AAA battery that was halfway depleted, and it was like 1.1 volts, and it lasted all night long. It lasted almost exactly 24 hours. And we still have it here. Come on. So there you go. Build these. You can use these in conjunction with your crystal batteries. This is one that's still going. For those of you that are watching my crystal battery series, this one's been going since the 9th. Running this circuit. Running pretty strong. You know? Alright, this is all we're going to talk about today. I hope you understand how to build these. I've got a schematic here. Let me just see if I can get this. This is the schematic. It's kind of crooked. But you should be able to read it. So this, build them, use up them old batteries. Of course, especially if you're like in a foreign country where you don't have lights. Here's your light. Thank you for watching.